Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, the Infuso. And I know I've critiqued both Heath Ledger and Christian Bale's performances in this iconic movie, but I do once again want to emphasize that these are just some issues I have with a lot of the creative decisions that were made for the characters, rather than choices that were made by the actors. The Dark Knight is an absolute classic, and one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. Point blank. I'm not taking that away from it. I can't deny its impact or success, nor would I ever. It's just a lot of the choices that were made in these movies seem to go against the spirit of the source. I personally still enjoy it. I just think that I enjoy it a little bit less than a lot of other people do. But my biggest problem with one of my favorite movies is one of my favorite characters in one of my favorite movies. And that's why today, we're talking about Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight. Now, not to sound like a broken record here for the third time in a row, but let me just say, Aaron Eckhart is a very talented actor. He's been believable in every role he's ever been cast in. And when I see that he's in a movie, it makes me want to go out and see that movie. I'm a big fan of this guy. Which is why I thought he was going to kill it as Harvey Dent. And instead, he just wound up being killed as Harvey Dent. I don't think he'd ever be my first choice for the role. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would definitely cast him in a part. I just wouldn't necessarily think that this was the part for him. But to his credit, he does make for a surprisingly likable politician. He portrays Harvey's good-hearted, well-intentioned, pure-natured side in a very respectable manner. I think it would be very easy for this character to come off as a goody two-shoes. But Aaron allows Harvey to be down to earth. He's incredibly humble and completely selfless in nature. He's extremely trustworthy. And there's never a moment when he comes off as anything other than sincere. And you know what, I don't like to bring up political views here on this channel, that's not really my thing, but I'm gonna say it. I believe in Harvey Dent. Unfortunately, however, what I have less belief in is this movie's Twoface. This iteration of Twoface hardly seems to exist outside of a nickname and a facial scar. The character is never depicted any different. There's no real change in the character in script or performance. There is absolutely no distinction between Harvey Dent and Harvey Twoface. It's just Harvey Dent, but he's a bad guy now. They feel very much one and the same. And because of this, it robs the character of what makes the character. Have I said character enough? Let me know in the comments below. I think the biggest problem is that this Harvey seems mentally sound. It's like the difference of the two performances of Will Graham. The one from Manhunter and the one from Red Dragon. Now, both are really good performances. However, the Red Dragon Edward Norton version of this character is a little bit lacking in his relationship with Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. You see, as a viewer, we're supposed to believe that Will is unhinged. He's so deep in his job and so close to the dark side of what he sees on a daily basis that we're supposed to believe that he could snap at any moment. And Lecter's influence can rein him into the dark side. As an audience, we're supposed to believe that. But Edward Norton is too squeaky clean and very in control of every situation that he's in that narrative gets completely lost in translation. What was a big present issue in the book and the original movie is now only lightly alluded to but kind of insisted upon. Because there's nothing to show that that's actually a part of the character. There's nothing in that performance that showcases this. It's basically just the script going, dude, trust me. I feel very similarly about this Harvey Dent. Never once does it feel like Harvey's at conflict with himself. He doesn't struggle with his decision-making at all. And with the absence of the character's inner struggles, it makes his need to live by the flip of a coin just kinda pointless and gimmicky. It's like they wrote this into the film because, oh yeah, that's the thing that he does, but they took out the reason he does it, which invalidates him doing it at all. Now he just does it because it's his thing, but it doesn't really serve a narrative purpose. There is no point in Harvey flipping the coin other than, has someone else seen him do it somewhere else before? I will say that the film sets it up pretty nicely. Having this be Harvey's lucky coin, except it's a trick coin because he makes his own luck, that's nice. That was a cute character trait. And it kinda endeared me to him and it made him feel like a person. It showed the character as an intelligent and charismatic figure who thinks things out. That's a real nice introduction of this mannerism and a good way of defining Harvey as a self-assured public official. But that's kind of the problem. He's confident, he's in control. There are no underlying issues present to make him ever doubt himself, to make him question true justice. to make him, well, Two-Face. And because of that, it becomes harder to justify a lot of what happens with this character without that narrative thread present. It's weird that the duality of Two-Face was somehow forgotten or otherwise neglected in making this movie. I mean, for Christ's sake, his name is Two-Face! Not one face, not singular face, not own face, but Two-Face. The movie seems aware of this as well because they do lightly juxtapose Harvey's dual identity problems with Batman's own duality. But it falls flat because these issues are hardly ever present. As a matter of fact, it almost feels like a straw man argument. The character's most signature mannerism is now rendered completely pointless. The coin is set up, but it's never justified. As without Harvey's need to listen to chance in the name of true justice, he has no reason to flip a coin to make his decision. Realistically speaking, this version of the character shouldn't be bound to the character's trademark if you're missing the purpose of that trademark. It makes matters even less logical when he relies on his now burned coin to determine the Joker's fate when he full well knows that he's the reason for his new makeover and single life. The coin shouldn't have decided if Joker lived or died. That should have been a personal choice that he made. He had every reason to want to take the Joker's life, and previously he had all the moral compass to know that he shouldn't. He could have been written to be beyond that and chose not to succumb to Joker's level. Or he could have rebelled and went against his previous good guy persona and done what was right for him. But instead of either of those two things, he now needs the choice to be made for him after hearing a speech by the Joker. And look, while the guy's words are captivating, I don't think Gotham's district attorney should be falling for his tricks with such ease. It kinda disrespects the character that was built up to this point in time. I get that this half-hearted heel turn is meant to turn the character in on itself. The goal is to contrast the before and after of his villainy. However, despite all that he's lost, there's never really a justification of his turn to the dark side. We're just supposed to buy into Joker's influence corrupting him, tearing him apart from the inside out. But again, without his self-torturous mentality, this change just makes Harvey look gullible and easily manipulated. And because of this, he kinda loses credibility as a character. This plot point doesn't listen to reason, and it insists upon itself. He's following his philosophy, and over what? Honestly, Harvey has every reason to hate the Joker. He was responsible for everything that went wrong with his life. And then when he finally has the chance to either enact his revenge or serve justice, he goes, you know what, I give it to you, you got me there, you made some good points. The reasonable thing would be for Harvey in some way go after the Joker. In the story at hand, there really is no reason for him to listen to anything other than his own head. Something that should be a lot easier for this Harvey, as it's a lot less crowded up there. Now, I've heard a lot of people try to go against this narrative and claim that Harvey Dent's split personality was still very present in this movie. The scene that I've heard cited as a rebuttal is always the scene in which he was about to take the life of Joker's henchman. And at first glance, yeah, that's what I believe that they were hinting at. In my first watch-through of the movie when I was a kid, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's the side of Harvey that I know. Except, it wasn't. Do you remember how that scene ended?
You'd leave a man's life to chance? Not exactly.
You can't leave something like that to chance.
I'm not.
You make your own luck.
The guy was never actually in any danger, because Harvey made his own luck. He made his own fate. He was just employing scare tactics to get information out of this guy. He was just playing good cop, bad cop, sans good cop. Even if he wasn't, which he clearly was, his outburst doesn't seem brought on by anything other than the circumstances at hand. If someone threatened the life of your significant other, you would probably at the very least momentarily snap if you're in fear of your loved one's life. I don't think his reaction is anything outside the ordinary, and I especially don't think it's any kind of indication of Two-Face. And also, look, I know it's a dumb complaint, and this is a personal thing for me. I really miss the two-sided suits. I really do. I'm a very big fan of that aesthetic, and I like that it provides the perfect visual for the character's inner workings. It's simple, but effective. And a lot of people could go, oh hey, that's way too on the nose, but, you know, it's Two-Face. We're not really working with a whole lot of subtlety here to begin with. Though I agree it probably wouldn't work in this movie's environment, but hey, it's my video, that's my own need for absurdity, and this is where I'm free to talk about it. Of course, the fact that he doesn't feature more in the movie always upset me too, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that that's a negative. Me wanting to see more of a character isn't a slight against the movie at all. Actually, if anything, it's a pat on the back. A job well done. I want to see more of this character. Something had to be done right. But ultimately, the short time we have with Harvey following his villain inception feels earned and allows the character to make an impact without overstaying his welcome. His short time in criminal activity also lends to the sympathy the audience has for Two-Face. He's not seen as a victimizer, but instead, just another victim of the Joker. I mean, to be fair, he was both of those things. He did victimize others. It wasn't just about getting revenge because, Gordon's kid really didn't do anything to anybody. But on the other hand, he was just a pawn in the Joker's schemes, which led to a lapse in logic and a decline in morals. For the tale that they were trying to tell, I would say this works, and works very well. But I feel like the character wasn't used to his greatest potential, and it wasn't a true-to-form depiction. Nevertheless, it's well acted, well written for the first half of the movie, and it plays very well into the overall story. So I would say it's valid. I think it's lacking, but valid. I just expect Harvey Dent to be doing something more. It was far from what I was hoping for, but it was still a good part played by a great actor. You can definitely argue that this deviates away from the source, but in my opinion, it deviates away from the very core of the character. I do like Aaron Eckhart in this movie. I do like Harvey Dent. I'm not really crazy about Two-Face. With the lack of mental problems and the introduction of a split personality, I think this movie was genuinely robbed of a Two-Face performance. Ultimately, I do appreciate Aaron Eckhart's contributions. With what the script was asking of him, he exceeded my initial expectations. I just feel like this character was a victim of mischaracterization. He serves his purpose in the movie's story, sure, but I feel like this interpretation lacks a lot of the character's most integral and interesting attributes. I think this performance does deserve to be recognized, because it's very well acted, but I sort of feel like the purpose of Harvey Dent as a character overall was a little bit misinterpreted. I like this movie, I like this character, but I think it could have been done significantly better had some of these mannerisms manifested in the final product. I find all of this to be a fundamental misunderstanding of the Two-Face character, because it's not the scars that make Harvey Dent Two-Face, it's his split personality. There have been stories told where Harvey's face is restored only for him to inevitably scar it right back up, for the simple fact that Two-Face isn't skin deep. The deeper, more psychological issues the character suffers from are really integral to its overall identity. Well, both of them. Which brings me to what I think will likely be my last part of this series, though don't quote me on that because who knows if I want to end up talking about Bane. So if you like this video and would like to see me talk about the problem with the Dark Knight Scarecrow, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
Dr. Crane isn't here right now.
And with all that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso, and I thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.